Hi everyone, welcome to another video on my YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to learn how to import PST files to Exchange Online mailboxes using network PST import method. Let's open a browser and then navigate to office.com. If you are prompted to sign in, please sign in with a global admin account. In my case, I was already logged in, so I directly navigated to the admin center. From Admin Center, on the left hand side, select Exchange. That will take us to Exchange Admin Center. If you do not have it visible in your case, you can click on this option and then click on Show All, and then select Exchange to navigate to Exchange Admin Center. In Exchange Admin Center, select Roles and then Admin Roles. We will need two roles assigned to our account: Mailbox Import Export and Mail Recipients. In my case, I already have created Mailbox Import role group and assigned it to myself with the permission Mailbox Import Export. I don't have the mail recipient assigned because by default a global admin address or a global admin account already has it assigned. So let's create a new role group and we will assign it both Mailbox Import Export role and mail recipients permission and assign it to my account. After adding a name, I have added a description. I like to do that so that if someone else is looking at the role groups, they will know what this role group is for and who it is assigned to. We will leave the right scope to default and then go on the next screen. On the next screen, you will see the options to assign different role. I'm searching for import for Mailbox Import Export, and then I searched for recipient for mail recipients permission. So you can assign these two roles to any service account if you want to limit the access and privilege, and by just giving these two roles, a user account or a service account can be used to import PST files using network PST import method. Once the role group is assigned, I'm going back to the admin center and clicking on compliance to go to compliance admin center. Microsoft is migrating services from compliance admin center to Microsoft Purview portal. So I was getting a prompt to go to Purview. So I selected I agree and I'm going to the Purview admin center. From there, I will select solutions and data lifecycle management. Under that, I have import. Over here, you see there is a new import job button. This button is only visible if you have the proper roles assigned. If you don't have it and the roles are assigned, give it a few minutes and then try again later. Once you have an import job created, select Show Network SAS URL. It will create a SAS key. Copy this to a clipboard and put it on a notepad. I like to save it on a notepad, which allows me to later use this to reformat it to upload my files. The next step that we're going to do is download this AzCopy tool. It downloads a zip file which you can then extract and save it on your computer wherever you want to. I'm leaving it in my downloads. Inside this, I have the AzCopy tool with the notice file. My PST files, which I have to upload to Office 365, are in C temp PST folder. This is the backup file of about 400 megabytes, which I'm going to upload. Now I am opening my notepad where I previously saved the SAS URL. The syntax to upload files to Azure Blob Storage using AzCopy tool is azcopy.exe space copy space source space destination. In my case, the source of the files is this path, ctemp pst. So I'll paste that, close the double quotes, space, and the destination is the SAS URL. Now, after this is done, we will be using space hyphen hyphen recursive I'll show you why I am using this, and there is another way to upload the files without recursive, which is this method, where after the path, which is the ctemp PST, I am adding a backslash asterisk. Both will upload this backup file that I have in this ctemp PST folder, but there is a difference which I will show you later. Next, I opened command prompt as an administrator, and now I am navigating to the location where I have the AzCopy tool extracted. So to navigate to that, I will use cd space quote, paste the path, quote, close, and enter. Now I will copy the instruction or the syntax from the notepad. I'll use the second one first. I'll copy this and paste it in my command prompt and press enter. Now you can see that it is going to save the logs file in that specific location, and it is uploading one file which is pending. Depending on your internet upload speed, it can be a very quick step. I'm also uploading the same file using the second instruction set, which is with the -- recursive. And in this case also, the logs are being saved and one file is being uploaded to Azure Blob Storage. Now we will download Microsoft Storage Explorer tool. This can be used to see if your PST files are uploaded successfully to the Azure's Blob Storage. This can also help you to find if there were any PST files previously uploaded. The SAS URL that we generated in the previous step, it creates an Azure Blob Storage, a temporary storage. We don't have to pay for it. You don't need to have an Azure subscription for it. But that is provisioned for you with kind of unlimited storage, and then you can upload the PST files there. Any file that you will upload, if not used for next 30 days, will be automatically deleted. So I'm installing this tool on my screen. I have increased the speed of this installation process, so it takes a few minutes. Once I will say no to this one. Once the tool is open, you can click on the connect button on the left hand side, which is this plug icon, and a window will pop up. Select blob container or directory, and then select shared access signature or SAS. Go next, open your notepad where we have previously saved the SAS URL. When you copy this and paste it in the blob container SAS URL, it will display the name as ingestion data. Click next and connect, and it will connect the blob storage where the PST files were uploaded. Now over here I have backup PST inside the PST folder, and one PST file is also outside in the root of this ingestion data folder. And this is because we have used two different URLs which uploaded the files. Now I will show you the reason why we have to use the recursive, and the case where you can upload without using the recursive with the /**. So if I upload the files again with the recursive option, you will see that one file is being uploaded. One is already done, so it skipped that text file, which was the smaller one, and it overwritten the PST file. Now if I refresh and go inside the PST folder, I have both PST file as well as the new file, txt file that we created. So you can see that using the recursive one, it not just uploaded the files, it also uploaded the folder. And in the second case where I have the asterisk, if I copy that and execute the command again, it will upload the content of the PST folder. So if I go back, once this upload is complete and refresh, next to the PST folder, we will have the txt file there. So when you are doing with the asterisk without the recursive, only the content of the folder will be uploaded. It does not go through any subfolders or files inside the subfolder. It will only upload that. Next step, is to create a CSV mapping file. If you want to know the format, you can go back to the import job, select the Open Companion Guide button, and on the left select Use Network Upload PST, and in the options we have the step number 4, which is create the PST import mapping file. There is also an option to download the template, but I like to copy the content and then use the text to column option, and then I will select the comma to delimit and format. So that way all the columns are in the respective columns in the CSV file. We have columns for workload, file path, name, mailbox, is archive, target root folder, and so on. Please make sure you do not change the headers of the column or remove the headers. Those are important. They will be needed. Without that, the mapping file will not validate, and you will not be able to import. The column number A is always going to be exchange, and the column G and onwards, they will be there but will be left blank. So leaving the workload as exchange. First, the next column is going to be the path where we are going to have the PST files. In this case, my file path, which is the backup PST, is within the PST folder. I'm uploading that. Next column is the name of the PST. The next one is the email address of the mailbox. If you don't know the email address of the mailbox, you can go to Exchange Admin Center, like I'm navigating to, and then mailboxes. Select the mailbox where you want to import the emails to, and then copy the user ID, which is also the user principal name in most cases. As you can see, I only have 0.07 gigabytes of data before the import job is completed. The next column is archive, which tells whether I want to import the emails into archive or not. In this case, no, that's why I'm leaving it to false. And the next column is the target root folder, which tells where the data will be imported. If I leave it as a /, then the PST will be imported and the items from the PST will be merged with the existing items. For example, if my PST has an inbox folder, a deleted item, a sent item, and since every mailbox comes out of the box with those, it will import that into those default folders. If I select any other name, a new folder or a subfolder will be created. So in my case, I left as imported data. Now I'm saving this file as a CSV file. So after this import is complete, my emails will be imported in a subfolder, imported data. So since I'm done uploading the files and I have access to the mapping file, I can go to the next step after checking those two boxes, and I will click upload file, navigate to the file and open to upload, and the next step is to validate. If everything is correct, we will have a green check like I do, that the data has been validated properly. Now you don't need to stay on that screen because sometimes it can take a very long time to upload all the PST. In my case, it was just a single file, so I was quick. But then even after you have closed and you go back and after your data has been uploaded, you can validate. You don't need to create new SAS URL. You don't need to upload the files again. The SAS URL stays the same. Now my import job has been created, and it will take a few minutes depending on the number of items you have in your import job. What it is doing in the background is it is analyzing the PST files that we have uploaded for any corrupted items or anything, or if the mailbox exists, or if they have enough space for the data to be imported. In this case, the analysis is complete. Now I'm selecting import to Office 365. When I do that, on this screen I have two options, whether I want to filter the data before importing or I do not want and no, I do not want to filter and I want to import everything. So let's see what are the options in the first one. I have an option to filter since this PST was fairly new, nothing is older than 1 year, but I have an option to skip folders or calendars or other items which are unknown. I can filter based on the date or the time. I can filter based on the to or CC or user, and once I have selected everything that I wanted, I can submit. Or you can directly go to no, I want to import everything, which will not give us any filter option, and you can submit. Once your import job has been submitted, the import will be in progress. You can come back after some time to take a look that what is the percentage. If it is a large PST file, it will take a few minutes to first analyze and then import. The normal import job rate is about 2 GB an hour. So I'll pause this video and I'll come back when the import job is complete. Okay, it took a few minutes for import. When I paused and when I came back, it asked me to sign in. My import job is complete. I can see that the backup PST was a success. There are no skipped items, no failed items or anything. And if I want to, I can also download the log file, which is another CSV. If you have large number of items, I recommend you download the log files and validate that if everything was imported successfully or not. In my case, my data has been imported successfully. There are no skipped items and there is no failure. So I'll close this and I will go back to my mailbox to show you that the new folder, which was supposed to be /imported based on this mapping file that we have created, has been created in this account and all the data has been imported. So you can see the file was backup PST, was supposed to go into the admin account. It was not going to go in place archive because the column E was false, and it was supposed to go in an imported data folder. And there it is, the new folder imported data, which has two subfolders, inbox and deleted items. If I didn't have the /imported data selected, the email items from inbox would have been merged with the inbox, the already existing inbox, and the deleted items would have merged with the deleted items. And you can see that in my in place archive, there is no imported data folder or no inbox or deleted. So with that, the network PST import process is complete. I hope this was helpful and you will be able to do this on your own. Please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more Office 365 related videos. Thank you. Have a nice day.